This is just into CNN. It's some frightening new video. It's from inside the protest a few hours ago in Brooklyn, okay? Now, it's a marked police vehicle. It appears to drive directly into a barrier where a large number of protesters were gathered. Watch this. So this happened on Saturday. This is an NYPD vehicle. It's hitting that barricade, knocking several people to the ground. The person who shot this video said the protesters were throwing trash and water bottles at the police vehicle at the time. No word yet as to whether anyone was hurt.
The video was upsetting, and I wish the officers hadn't done that, but I also understood that they didn't start the situation. The situation was started by a group of protesters converging on a police vehicle, attacking that vehicle. It's unacceptable. So the officers have to get out of that situation. I'm not going to blame officers who were trying to deal with an absolutely impossible situation. The folks who were converging on that police car did the wrong thing to begin with, and they created an untenable situation. I wish the officers had found a different approach, but let's begin at the beginning. The protesters in that video did the wrong thing to surround that police car, period.
Shimon, what are you seeing and hearing from your vantage point?
Yeah, as to that video, you can be assured of that folks inside the NYPD, officials inside the NYPD are very concerned about that. That's just not an appropriate tactic in any kind of situation. You know, we've been out here all day and we've seen police cars attacked. We've seen police vans on fire. And of course, the mayor said that that is unacceptable. And it is unacceptable, that kind of level of violence. But what you see in that video from the police department is also unacceptable. That is not an appropriate tactic. You don't drive your car forward into a crowd of people. You know, you call for backup. You do things to try and get yourself some help so that you can get yourself out of this situation. You know, for New York City, Don, I think it's important to note that they have spent years trying to make the relationships between the community, the black community, the black and brown community, minorities of of New York City, to try and build on better relationships. And when you see something like that, it upsets a lot of people. You know, under this mayor and the different police commissioners that we've had under Mayor de Blasio, that has been the focus of their job, is to try and better the relationship that the NYPD has with the community. And in some ways, they think it has been working. And what we're seeing across the city today is very shocking for a lot of people. The level of violence, the level of attacks. Of course, you know, you talk to police officers here that I've talked to, that I've dealt with, they're all upset over what happened in Minneapolis, but they're also very upset by what's being done to them and how, you know, the level of attack in some ways. And they're not satisfied with some of the response that they've been seeing from police officers everywhere. So, you know, you walk through these streets today, I have to tell you, having been in New York City my whole life and having covered protests as a reporter, as a journalist, you know, I have not seen this level of violence. The fires, yes, they're trash fires, but they were being set, you know, all across Manhattan, you know, Union Square area, Chelsea area, police vans being set on fire, barricades being thrown through police vehicles. That is what we were seeing from some of the protesters. There were peaceful protests. You know, the police department, the mayor was not happy over some of the things that he saw yesterday. There's another video that the mayor addressed and city officials addressed of a woman being pushed by police officers in Brooklyn yesterday as she was walking, and an officer pushes her, shoves her to the ground. The mayor talked about that and how that's unacceptable. The NYPD commissioner talked about that. So we've been seeing things like that. And then today, you know, for the police department, you know, at times they did seem outnumbered. They did seem to, you know, allow the crowd to come into the street. Yesterday, they were not allowing some of the protesters into the street. But after what we saw yesterday, it seemed that the tactics had changed today. But then it just things progressed through the day, Donna, and it just kind of got worse as the night came. We have not seen these fires. We have not seen the police vehicles being vandalized as we saw today. So all around, I think there's going to be a lot of sadness, right? I mean, the community is going to be very sad over what happened, to see the way some of the police officers have reacted with using their vehicles, shoving people, in some cases using excessive force. And then you're seeing communities, like here around us, that windows have been broken at banks, at stores, police cars that are now just on the street here, all burned out to a shell with nothing left. I should say there have been over 100 arrests, probably close to 150 arrests across the city in Brooklyn, here in Manhattan, several arrests. Protesters mostly were gathering in Union Square for most of the day. It was kind of the place where they would all meet, and then they would leave and they would go to different areas, and then police would chase them down, and then there would be agitation, and then they would fight with the police, and then the police would chase them, and then lots of arrests. And there are still pockets of violence around the city. So it's probably going to be a long night here, and tomorrow we'll see, what the day brings. Certainly, Don, I think from yesterday to today here in New York City, and as we're seeing across the country, there's been an escalation in these demonstrations and the level of violence.